Elodie, Blight, you have been working for months, years, really, at the gym, training every day. There have been times where you have gone in before school starts, to get to get in a couple of hours by yourself. And almost every day you stay late after the gym is closed, volunteering to mop the floors and wipe down the equipment in order to buy yourself a couple of free hours to train on the speed bag. You even moved to Maryland, taking up one of the free rooms in your dad's place, rather than returning home to your mother. And it's all come down to tonight. It's Saturday. The local championship is here, and you've finally gotten to the goal weight that you had, or that you had to be in the weight class that you wanted to compete in. You have qualified by winning enough matches. You have done everything you were supposed to do. Your coach, who is one of the coaches at the gym itself, is with you in the locker room. You're already changed, and you've had your little pep talk. He's double checked the tape on your fingers before you put your the tape on your hands and your knuckles before you put on your gloves. He's gone so far as to bend down and double check that you laced your boots well enough that they're not going to come unlaced in the middle of the fight. Tell me how you're feeling and what's going on in your mind right now.
With so much lead up, you would think that it would be a lot of nerves. You think that it would be a lot of adrenaline and anticipation and fear. But all I feel is pure bliss. That's always been the case, as any failure in the ring is no failure, because I know that I put it out all on the mat. This is something that, win or lose, it feels right to do. So while my coach is fussing, I just kind of smirk and just, a little nervous there, bud?
Proud is more like it. But I've also seen how in the zone you can get and how easy it is for you to miss things. So just making sure.
Aw, what would I do without you? Probably be like a millionaire by now, flying all over the
Yeah.
world, private jets.
Yeah, my fee and my insistence that you pace yourself and actually move at a reasonable rate so that you don't burn yourself out or end up in a hospital is just so hard on you.
Counterpoint, blackjack and slot machines.
And debt, lots of debt.
That's the way to go out, my guy.
Okay, well, let's leave you going out one way or the other for a few years down the line. What do you say?
Isn't this the part of the movie where this is where it all comes to its end? One way or another? We gotta make these plans now.
I don't know. This feels like the beginning of the movie to me. This feels like the lead up. This is how you got your start before you moved on to bigger, higher stakes.
Very meta of you. I agree. It'll be great. One way or another, everything's going out there.
Yeah. Either way, win or lose, you've come further than any student I've had in a much shorter time than most of them. Most of my students started when they were a lot younger than you.
Oh, you're gonna make me emotional.
Well, if
Let's
you're
leave
gonna
that
get
sappy stuff.
yeah, that's fair. All right, look. You're one of the final fights of the night. So take a breath, meditate, do whatever it is that you do, listen to heavy metal, I don't know. I'm going to go out and find out how long we've got before you're up.
Cool. And just to be clear, I hit the other guy?
I certainly hope so.
Okay, just checking. You know, I have a tendency to forget these kind of things, apparently.
Oh, don't do that to me. I'm too old for this shit. He makes his way to the door, leaving you alone for a few minutes. While you are sitting there, are you, as excited as you are you trying to like focus and kind of visualize the fight? Like you've studied recordings of both your fights and your opponent's fights. Are you visualizing things? Are you just sort of chilling out and trying not to think about the fight? What are you doing?
I'm keeping the blood flowing. I'm kind of hopping on my toes, doing a little shadow boxing. I am trying to kind of work through the possibilities as best I can in the way chess players kind of do, anticipating what moves might be made and how I would hypothetically counter. But okay. I'm not trying to get too much in my head about it because you can't know what's going to happen until it happens.
All right. You position yourself between a wall and a one of the lights hanging up in the ceiling so that you could see your shadow, and begin to shadow box with yourself, imagining your shadow as your opponent. Counters, blocks, all of that. As you are doing this, you find yourself kind of slipping a little bit into the zone that you tend to hit when you're like really with it and moving while you're training. And as that is happening, you hear, you're not sure if it's in your head or if it's coming from nearby. You hear the clang of metal on metal, similar to the sound of like sword fights in a movie.
I frown and I'll have some over-ear headphones that I kind of use to help me get into the zone, and I'm gonna pull off one of them off of my ear and just try and listen closer.
Nothing. Sounds normal. Your music continues to play.
Huh. Weird. Whatever.
Back to sparring with your shadow. As you are moving and adjusting, again, you're focused and in that zone, only a little put off by that weird sound, and you swear you hear it again. But you also smell, it smells like churned up dirt and the coppery tang of blood in the air.
This time I will fully take off my headphones and let them rest around my neck, and I'm just going to look around because is something bad happening?
Looks like the locker room always looks. Empty. I mean, there's signs that other people have been here, but like everything that you're seeing has been here the whole time you've been here. It's been discarded towels and people's bags kind of like left haphazardly at the foot of their locker rather than being put away normally. That sort of thing. It's just you in here.
Is there any way I can trace the smell?
You make me a perception and is it alertness? I think it's alertness and changeling. Hold on. Yeah, perception and alertness. So 3 successes. The smell kind of lingers a little bit, and you take a deep breath, and you still kind of smell it, but you smell more sweat because you're in a locker room than anything. It smells like BO in here. Your nose kind of wrinkles a little bit, and you walk around the locker room, taking deep breaths, trying to draw it in, trying to pick up that smell of dirt and blood. And the more you do it, the more it fades until you can't smell it anymore. But as far as you could tell, you can't find any source of it. At least not the dirt. Blood you could kind of understand. There's like towels, people have been boxing. There's probably some blood in the room somewhere, though you're not entirely sure where. But by the time you kind of really make a circuit of the room, it has faded, replaced primarily with the smell of sweat.
I'll just shake my head, and I'm going to mention it to Coach later, because if someone's tracking dirt in here, that's nasty. This place is already nasty enough. With nasty affectionate, but this place nasty.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay. You kind of give a shake of your head. You're like, I can't think about it right now. I'll talk to Coach later. There's nothing I could do about it when I'm about to go on. And settle yourself back into keeping your body warm, stretching occasionally, so that none of your muscles get like overworked. And eventually your coach shows back up and taps you on the shoulder because you've got your headphones on.
Pull off one of the headphones. Yo!
It's time. Gotta leave those here, though.
Yeah, no, and I'll tuck them into my bag and get ready to follow.
He leads you out in time to hear the announcer, who, this isn't like a big flashy affair. This is a local competition. So the announcer is really just like, like an AM radio like host. He doesn't have the big boomy voice or anything like that, but he still reads out your name and your weight class.
It's still a big pull. This guy reads the farm reports at 3 a.m.
And in this corner we have Miss Elodie Blight in green. As you climb up into the corner, and you hear cheers and claps from the people who primarily the people at your gym. Your dad's in the crowd. A couple of your siblings have attended. The ones who are kind of pseudo local enough that they could make the drive. And they're all there to watch as you set up for the fight to start?
I do a little bit of vamping as though this is a big pro fight, but I'm grinning from ear to ear the entire time because I know that this is very silly. But if I get a couple people to laugh and a couple people a little more into it, then that's worth it to me. I don't care about looking silly. 3 successes.
Very good. You bounce around on your toes and you throw your arms up in the air and you're hamming it up in a big way. You can see your dad's got his iPhone out and is recording. Your siblings are cheering. Everybody's kind of chuckling. Even your coach is just sort of shaking his head. All right. Focus up.
I will focus up.
Remember what we talked about. Stay on your toes. He favors his left.
Got it.
You've got this.
Of course I do. I'm Elodie.
You are indeed. And he kind of steps back as the ref calls for the two of you to go to the center of the ring. I would like you to make a Dex plus Brawl check as the match starts. 3 successes, not bad. You and your opponent begin to go rounds. You're exchanging blows. You're both doing pretty well. Your opponent is another girl. Looks to be a couple of years older than you. You know her from her reputation that she's been at this for a while. She's her father owns a gym. She's been competing since she was little. You get the feeling from the kind of rumors on the circuit that her dad really wanted a boy and got nothing but girls. Thankfully, one of them was a pretty big tomboy. And got very, very into like physical pursuits and sports and things like that. And so he ended up training her. The two of you go kind of round for a while. You are slightly outpacing her. You're landing more solid shots than she is. And eventually get to the point where you're both kind of exhausted. You're both pretty battered and bruised. It's been a couple of rounds now, and neither has really gotten to the point where you've out and out won. But you can tell that she's flagging more than you are. Make me one more Dex and Brawl, and then also make me a Stamina and Athletics roll. Yeah, you've done much better than her on keeping your energy levels up and dealing with the pounding that you were taking.
Something that Elodie has become famous for is being incredibly irritating because she is grinning the entire time.
Grinning around your mouth guard.
Yeah, exactly.
As this is happening, and you're getting pummeled, she's getting pummeled, but somehow you are holding up more than she is. You begin to hear again the clash of metal on metal. You smell blood in the air and the scent of upturned earth. You also, for just a moment, as you are fighting her, it looks like she is covered in armor. And then you blink and she looks normal again. And then later on in a later round, you take another couple of shots and you blink and it looks like she is like all of her clothing and her hair is green. And then you blink again and she looks normal. And even with all of this going on, you wait for just the right opening. She's favoring her left, and you come around hard at her right, where her guard isn't quite as strong, and nail her across the jaw, and she's down. And the crowd, however small it is, goes nuts around you. And you swear that in the crowd and in the yelling and the cheering and everything that sounds very normal, you hear trumpets.
I am standing there, breathing hard, sweaty, absolutely punch drunk at this point because I'm so high on the adrenaline of doing the thing that I love so much. Before I do anything else, I will hold down a hand to my opponent to try and help her up.
She looks a little dazed, but she accepts the hand.
I'll pull her up and just say, you did great, around my mouth guard because I forgot to take it out. It's just like, you did great. You're awesome, you know that?
She will spit out her mouth guard because she's been at this a while, so she's got like a muscle memory and reflex to follow. You're badass. Good job.
And I'm gonna spit out my mouth guard after I see her do it. I'm gonna turn to the audience and I'm gonna say, "Are you not entertained?"
which gets a big whoop and laugh from everybody around you. As you turn towards the audience, out of the corner of your eye, you catch a flash of what looks like metal, and you turn your face to look, and nothing's there.
Huh. Maybe I got hit head and harder. That seems about right. Maybe I got hit harder in the head than I thought.
Your coach kind of claps you on the shoulder. You did get hit pretty good a few times. It was like you were there, but not there all the way. You okay?
Yeah, you know me. I have a tendency to let my mind wander a bit. That's just me.
As you were having this conversation, you swear off to your right and slightly behind you. You hear the the kind of snapping noise that a flag makes in a strong wind.
Yes.
You swear you hear that behind you.
I'm gonna turn around.
Nothing there.
I'll be right back. I think I need some air. It reeks in here, and that's only partially you.
Okay, don't take too long. You've got they're gonna do awards at the end.
Yeah, no, I'll be back in like 2 seconds. It's just I'm absolutely buzzing.
All right, good job, kid.
Thanks. I couldn't have done it without you or whatever, and I'm gonna run outside.
Well, don't make it emotional or anything as you run away. You make your way outside, and as you burst through this side door in this gym, larger gym than your local gym, you burst through this side door out into the evening air, and it's cool and crisp, and it feels good against your skin. And you take a deep breath, and you're like, okay, I'm okay. It's fine. It's just my imagination. It's fine. You swear that you hear horse hooves and the sound of something hard rolling briskly over concrete at the end of the alley.
It is at this moment that I really wish I had my little massive keychains, because I know that somewhere in there's one of those tiny flashlights, but
it's in your bag.
Yeah. So I'm gonna do the horror movie thing, and I'm gonna call out, hello?
Nothing, and you don't hear the horse anymore.
Elodie, you gotta get your crap together, dude. That armor stuff was cool, though. I start thinking about how I could kind of try to figure that out with maybe watercolors next time. Usually when I have these kind of daydreams, they end up going in one of my sketchbooks or into the graphic novel that will never get done, but I like it, so
I mean, that's
got a
all
very
that matters.
dedicated fan base.
As you are thinking about this, you hear the roar of some great cat from the front of the building, which is at the end of the alley and around the corner.
My first thought is, wow, that's weird. My second thought is, oh my God, did something escape the zoo? My third thought is, you only live once, so I'm going to head towards the front.
Excellent. You head towards the front. You don't see any great cats or anything like that. And you're kind of frowning and looking around. And then you turn. And as you turn, you remember in the moment that you see it, that there is a big like mural painted on the front of this gym of a giant tiger. But it just looks like a painting until you blink and you're pretty sure that you just saw it wink at you.
Elodie is going to frown, but not in an upset way, more in a, well, huh. And I'm going to lean forward and just, did you say something, buddy?
Nothing.
I'm
and then
nuts.
you hear horses' hooves behind you, and then the neighing of the wicker of a horse.
I've gotten accustomed to this over the past few minutes. I'm gonna turn around and be like, "Oh, what's that? Oh, there's nothing there."
There's a car driving by, and you watch the car go by in kind of confusion, and you're like, it's just a car. And you turn to look down the street again to see if maybe the horse is down there. And you swear out of the corner of your eye, instead of seeing a car passing you, you see several horses drawing a chariot.
A chariot?
Yep. Like an old Roman style chariot.
I'm going to do a little jog and try and get a second look because that's cool.
You jog to try and follow what now looks like a car again. And you're like, what the fuck is going on? And then you hear the kind of low rumbling, not quite a growl, but not quite a purr either, that comes out of Great Cats. And you turn around, and this time it's definitely moving. It has gotten up from its pose where it is kind of wrapped up and around the door and is now like perched on top of the door and watching you.
When they say that art imitates life, I didn't think it was that literal.
Oh, they're more right than they know, the tiger says.
Okay.
And as this happens, Elodie, you go, okay, and then you feel coming from you, though you're not entirely sure how it could possibly come from you, because this has never happened before. You saw things when you were little, imaginary things. You've seen less as you've gotten older. But you still remember the things that you used to imagine and the stories that you could tell. You feel a ripple of what feels like power pulse out from you. And it feels like it pulses every time your heart beats, and you could hear your heart beating in your ears now. And you watch as the world around you becomes more intense, more vibrant. The colors are brighter. The lights are brighter. Every shade of red is somehow a million shades all at once. Everything feels more and bigger, and it's like almost being dumped into an incredibly realistic cartoon version of your own world in terms of the way things begin to look.
I look around in absolute awe, and as I go to breathe, it's almost like when you take that first step out of the house on a cold winter morning, and breathing in almost feels like it is going to exceed the capacity of your lungs, but there is something that just tastes so good and clean about the air that you just want to keep gulping it down.
That car that was going down the road that sometimes looked like a chariot and sometimes looked like a car just looks like two horses in a chariot with a man standing in the back now as it rounds a corner. The tiger is still moving. It's watching you. It's pacing along the walls. Another mural across the street that is this giant like graffiti art dude with a guitar peels itself off of the brick and becomes like a three-dimensional being in these bright multicolors.
Whoa.
You watch as what looked like a pigeon nearby suddenly is nothing but like technicolor pinks and greens and blues. It's a type of bird you've never seen before. It looks like something out of like a 3-year-old's dream of what a bird of paradise would look like.
I move to get a closer look at these things because there are two very distinct possibilities. I'll extend it maybe to 3, but I'm going to stick with 2. 1, someone spiked my Red Bull and this is a wild hallucination. Or 2, this is all real. Either way, when do you get this opportunity?
The bird kind of like spreads its wings and does a little like shudder thing that birds do where they puff out their chest a little bit.
Preen.
Yep. Like it is showing off for you. The man with the guitar is playing his guitar, and you watch as more and more things around you begin to look like they are coming to life. And all the while, you can feel that power that kind of pulses out from you. You're not sure if you're making the world like this or if the world has always been like this, and whatever is coming from you is allowing you to see it.
I have grown up on magical stories like Percy Jackson, where kids suddenly get these amazing powers and it comes out of nowhere and it changes their entire life. I didn't think that would happen when I was 18. Usually those things cap out at around 12 to 16 years old. But I am not one to look a gift horse in the mouth. I look at all of these things with amazement and excitement, even though in the back of my mind, I'm just thinking no one is going to believe me.
As you are having that thought, there is that part of you that like does that kind of giddy thing that people do with their hands where they turn them into fists and they kind of bring them up and they kind of shake them a little bit in front of their chest.
Oh, I'm absolutely stimming right now.
You catch a glimpse of what feels like something metal around your hands, and you looked at it for just a split second. You swear to God you think it looks like you are wearing like gauntlets from medieval armor, and then it's gone.
I'm gonna shake my hands again and just say, go, power gauntlets, and see if they come back.
They do not.
Dang it.
That's very cute, though. Meanwhile, several blocks away, in a small coffee shop that has pretty much closed up for the night, there's a couple of staff members bustling around, mopping and scrubbing down the espresso machine, things like that. But the door is locked for customers for the day. A Boggin sits at a table, poring over a manuscript. His one of his fingers kind of rubbing at the moss that has grown along his nose as he thinks over a particular turn of phrase, trying to decide if he likes it or if he needs to rewrite it for probably the 50th time in the past 2 days. Rowan, you've felt this feeling before. It's been a while, and it feels like it happens less and less often these days. But that doesn't make it any less distinct and powerful. There is a rush of glamour that pulses from outside, and it goes through the coffee shop and out onward across the city. This sort of glamour outpouring could only come from one of a couple things, and only one of them is likely. And that is that someone is going through their chrysalis nearby. You know the rules of your society, which is that it is incumbent upon all changelings to respond when they feel that impulse. Not to mention, it feels really good to be bathed in that amount of glamour.
For Roman personally, it also feels very good to be able to help somebody and give them the guidance that they so desperately need in what could be a very scary time.
Absolutely. What would you like to do?
With that in mind, Rowan is going to put his manuscript hurriedly into his briefcase, and he is going to get into his car and start heading in the direction that the rush of glamour is coming from, if he can perceive that.
Oh, it's very, very clear where it is coming from. It goes out in like waves and ripples, so you can follow them to the source.
Very good.
It is several blocks, but you have time, because chrysalises are very rarely like brief.
At the same time, Rowan is concerned that he get to the source of this burst of glamour before the wrong person in court does, who might take advantage of the situation.
Not to mention hunters, or other sundry supernaturals.
Very true.
It takes you a little bit, and you are not the only one who is going. You see a tall woman with blue skin, who you know is a troll who lives locally. She's sweet enough, but she's a troll. She's very formal and kind of honor bound and a little militaristic.
I still wish her a good evening.
She kind of gives you a big grin. It's a good night.
Indeed it is.
And as you get there, you realize that again, you're not the only ones. There is a raccoon that you see coming up the street from the opposite direction from where you are headed, or where you're coming from. And when it gets close to what you realize is a young woman with kind of red and blonde hair, and the distinctly pointed ears of a clerican. She could be a she. She have upswept ears as well, but she doesn't have the kind of delicate, graceful features of either the Autumn or the Arcadian she. And she's her knuckles are taped up, and she's standing outside of a gym, and she's just looking sort of awestruck at the world around her. And you watch as this raccoon comes barreling down the road from the opposite end that you are, and as it gets closer, turns into a man in kind of bedraggled, like worn clothing. You've never actually spoken to this particular puka, but you have seen them around. They are a member of the homeless population who occasionally just tends to pop up where it's convenient.
Good evening to you.
Elodie, you can see an older man in a green jacket. He's got green skin, and it looks like there is moss growing on his nose and his head and the back of his hands.
While in certain circumstances you might expect a young girl to be afraid of all that is going around, Elodie does not hesitate to walk directly up to you and look you directly in the eyes and just, are you real or did I make you too?
My dear, just because you have made something does not make it any less real. But yes, I am real.
You talk like Instagram poetry.
Well, I do have some experience in that department. Allow me to introduce myself. I am Rowan Parson.
I'm Elodie Blight. Hi.
It is a pleasure.
Can you see all this too?
How much of what Elodie can see can Rowan also see?
Oh, you could see all of it.
Okay.
You're not catching the flickers of things that she's getting that still disappear. Like you don't see gauntlets on her hands or anything like that. But you see the street art come to life, and the tiger that's very much alive on the building behind her. All of that you can see.
I would wager that I can see a fair amount of what you are seeing. I hope you are having a pleasant evening, Rowan says to the tiger.
The tiger kind of lowers its head in a kind of respectful nod. Best evening I've had in a while. Nice not to be stuck in one position anymore.
I can imagine that can be rather cramping.
Yeah, your back must hurt.
You have no idea.
Rowan turns to the other changelings who are present and says, "Thank you all for coming. I think I have this handled from here."
There's kind of a pause, and then the troll kind of nods. Very well. We're gonna hang out in the area and just in case, but you should probably get her moving.
I quite agree. I'm sorry, Elodie, was it?
Elodie Blight.
Ms. Blight, is there anyone inside this building who might miss you if you were to go elsewhere?
That is the first time that Elodie gets a little wary and takes a step back and is like, I am heavily trained in combat, I will have you know.
And I will have you know that I am not, so if anything untoward should happen, you will have things well in hand. But for your safety, against all that you are seeing, because I am sorry to say that not all of it is pleasant, you will want to come with me so that I can explain what it is that is happening.
What do you mean, my safety? Am I in trouble?
Oh no, dear, not at all, not at all. Something wonderful has happened to you, but it will take me some time to explain, and I dare say you could probably use a calming cup of tea and perhaps some baked goods. I make them myself.
I mean, I'll take a Red Bull and some cheese curls if you got them.
I do keep snacks of that nature for just such an occasion.
Elodie will think for a moment, because while she is very bright and very silly, she is by and large a reasonably cautious individual when it comes to herself and her safety. And she is looking around at everything that is in front of her and someone who clearly looks to be a part of it and can see it as well. I can't just ditch without telling my dad, and I gotta get my phone. But she shoves her hands in her pockets. I could take a walk.
A walk would be nice. Is there a park that I know of nearby that might be a bit less traveled at this time of night?
Yes. It's going to be more out in the open, which is a risk in and of itself, because Chrysalis, while they primarily bring in other changelings, also bring in other things, including people who hunt changelings. But there is a park nearby that you could go to.
She would be fine going to, like, if he says it's a cafe, she'll go to a reasonably well-lit cafe. But she definitely wants to say bye to her dad and get her phone and stuff, because he's used to her kind of disappearing to do her own thing. He's not exactly a helicopter parent.
Fair enough. To be clear, is this the freehold that we're going to?
Yes. Your
Okay.
coffee shop.
Okay, great. I just wasn't sure whether in the timeline we have that yet.
Yes. As you are, as this back and forth is going, the blue-skinned woman kind of looks over at the two of you, Elodie, and she's looking down the street, and you see her kind of roll her shoulders, and pop her neck a little bit. Whatever you two are going to do, make it fast. We're going to have company soon. And she, Elodie, you watch as she pulls what looks like a pen from her pocket, and she clicks the end of it. And when she clicks the end of it, it extends into this incredibly long handle that at first, as it is growing, looks like a staff, except that it ends short on one side and the other side extends a little bit further and then widens and forms the head of a giant, like, two-headed, like, battle hammer.
Oh, that's so Percy Jackson. A little leaning more towards the movie, which I don't really like, but I can appreciate the reference.
She kind of blinks. Kay? You should hurry if you're gonna go. We're not the only people who get drawn in by people who are going through what you're going through, and not everybody who comes is friendly.
She is quite right. Inform your father that you are leaving, and then we can be on our way.
Oh, I'm not gonna argue with a blue lady with an axe and
Hammer.
a moss guy. Hammer, yeah, but still, I'm gonna run inside. And if anyone tries to stop me, I'm going to blow by them to the not the changing room, the locker room. I'm gonna blow by them to the locker room with some excuse of going out, gotta go, celebrating, see you later. Grab my duffel and zooming out, give my dad a kiss on the cheek and say, I'll see you sometime, love you, bye.
Kay? Bye.
Accept my award on my behalf.
Your dad looks a little dumbfounded, but also not terribly surprised. And he kind of gives you a, like, somewhat stunned wave as you leave, like, you've worked 2 years for this, but I guess it's not that important now that you've lost. Okay, bye-bye. And you are back outside in time to see that blue-skinned woman charging at what look like 3 people who look. One of them looks a little bit like her, but with, like, grayish, like, dimmed skin, and slightly bigger than she is. One of them has brown hair with pointed ears, and one has what you realize is a very ornately crafted bow, and she gives this battle cry and charges down the center of the street towards them.
And I look at Rowan and I was like, pointing at him, I am understanding. I am comprehending.
Comprehending what exactly?
A lot is happening.
Indeed. You're comprehending what our troll friend said.
Yeah.
The raccoon guy, by the way, shifts back into a raccoon, like shrinks down in kind of midair and then plops down on the ground as a raccoon and scurries off between a couple of buildings.
Do I know the name of the troll lady by any chance?
Vigdis is her name.
Vigdis.
Mm-hmm.
Worry not. We are in good, capable hands with Vigdis.
She is a troll knight of the Sealy Court.
Excellent. So I stand back and watch as Vigdis does her work, because Rowan is absolutely no help in a fight.
She clashes with the troll-looking man, who is the kind of grayish, vaguely blue but mostly gray skin. You can suspect from the kind of queasy feeling that they give the two of you, to look at them as they begin to use what you, Rowan, realize is their own form of magic. They are probably all three of them Dauntain. And not good for you to be around.
Indeed. Would there be reasonable time for me to use Willow Whispers on some sort of natural feature around here to see if maybe, the bush or the tree or whatever that I talk to can provide misdirection to any Fey commoners who might come asking once we've left the area?
Yeah. For the sake of ease, I'm not going to make you roll for that. You've got the kind of time and space, because Vigdis is keeping their attention on them. She's not going to let them get away from her. That should be pretty easy for you to do, especially with all of the glamour in the air. Should be very effective.
Perfect. Just for description's sake, so Elodie has something to play off of later on. When Rowan casts the cantrip, he says a silly limerick about the situation, and that's going to be his bunk for what he's doing.
Love that. You see as the local shrubbery and trees, which there are some, not a ton, but some, around, all seem to kind of like begin to kind of move and shift a little bit. A tree gives a shake of its branches, and you see a bunch of leaves fall. And you know that they are going to respond and do their best to cover your tracks.
Excellent. I turn to Elodie and say, I think it's best that we start heading towards the coffee shop now. Vigdis has things well in hand.
Elodie just nods very distantly as she is staring wide-eyed and open-mouthed at this absolute powerhouse of a troll. And you can see her hands kind of flexing, like she's kind of itching to throw herself into the fray. And there's a little bit of a wild look in her eye, but she blinks and looks at Rowan and just, yeah, that sounds like an idea.
I take her by the hand gently and move her towards my. Well, did I walk or did I take the car?
I would say that you probably walked. In DC, that tends to be the faster method, unless it's like the middle of the night.
Fair enough. Okay, so I take a stroll with her down towards the freehold.
All right, you two scurry away from the gym. Rowan, being familiar with the neighborhood, manages to duck into alleyways and out from between buildings. It kind of takes this very circuitous serpentine route, Elodie, that leaves your head spinning a little bit, because you live most of your time in Maryland, not in DC. you're not familiar with the local layout. And by the time you get there, you're not sure that you could find your way back. But you do notice as he passes, any kind of like shrubbery or whatever seems to kind of get little motes of light around it for a minute before it kind of shudders and reacts to his presence before as he passes by. And eventually, he brings you up outside of a coffee shop. It looks closed for the moment, but when he produces a key, you realize that it is probably his as he unlocks the front door.
Are you some kind of hedge witch? With a coffee shop? Why do those points seem counterintuitive?
I wouldn't think that they're counterintuitive at all, but not exactly. Please step inside. I will make some nice chamomile tea. You will have some biscuits, freshly baked today, and we can talk all of this over and answer as many of your questions as I possibly can.
Okay. Am I a superhero now?
Has Elodie entered the coffee shop as she says this?
Yes, she has.
The coffee shop, as you walk in, it looks kind of empty and like there's no one working here at the moment. The lights are kind of dimmed. But as you walk in and the door closes behind you, Elodie, what you saw from the outside, there's like another ripple. It's not quite as powerful as the ones that have been emanating from you. It is like its own, like a wave as you walk in. And as you walk in, everything is kind of warmly lit. It's not super bright, but the lights are kind of purposefully at a hue that's very warm. A fireplace that you didn't see from outside is actually tucked back into a corner. And there's a little like blue flame in it that you aren't sure, but you suspect you would not have been able to see before today had you come in here normally. And everything smells like freshly baked goods and coffee.
There are also a lot of antiques and knickknacks around the place. A lot of doilies probably too.
Mm-hmm.
You probably shouldn't have mentioned the knickknacks because Elodie's little fingers are kind of twitching, but she keeps her hands in her pockets because when someone has just conceivably saved you from 3 dark wizards, stealing from them is wrong.
Well, thank goodness for that. All right, so Rowan will lock the door behind them, and he will head immediately behind the counter and begin brewing the chamomile tea. And he says, please do sit down, my dear, wherever it is that you would like. Why don't we start by tell me what happened. Tell me what you have experienced.
Okay. And without missing a beat, Elodie crawls onto the counter to sit cross-legged and watch him work and starts to recount the events of the night, probably putting a little too much detail into her fight and how she won so gloriously. That's probably about, if she's talking for 30 minutes, 20 of that is the fight. And then the last 10 minutes is like everything weird that happened afterwards.
I love that.
By the time that is done, Rowan has properly warmed, in the oven, warmed some apple turnovers, some cookies, maybe a small cake, and he has also expertly brewed and steeped some chamomile tea.
I love that. Elodie, please give me a raw perception roll.
2 successes.
As you are handed, Rowan, would you say that you gave her a cup of chamomile tea and the Red Bull that she requested?
Oh, yes, she did ask for that. I would, of course, give her the Red Bull. And actually, the other snack. What were the other snacks you asked for?
Cheese curls, cheese curls, cheese curls.
Okay, yeah, he brings those out from the pantry.
Excellent. As you are handed all of this food, like there's a bag of cheese curls, there's a cup of chamomile tea, there's also a can of Red Bull, and biscuits and cookies put out on a plate. You kind of glance down, just to be polite. You pick up the chamomile tea to take a sip, and as you do, you glance down at yourself and you realize that you don't quite look the way that you used to look.
Huh?
You realize because your hair is pulled back, your ears are like pointy, and your features are a little bit more angular than they used to be.
Am I an elf?
Close.
Are you Santa?
No, I do work more than one day a year.
Wow, really dogging on Santa there. Jeez. Get a job, Santa.
No, to be fair, I suppose Santa Claus does work in preparation for the rest of the year, but all that aside, you are what they call a changeling.
Elodie has always loved fantasy and fiction and things of that nature. She's always been a very fanciful child, so hearing changeling, she knows the agreed upon lore, and her eyes go wide and her mouth drops and she has to set down the cup and setting the saucer a clatter and just, I'm adopted?
No. That particular legend of the mortals is not entirely correct.
Oh, thank goodness. That would make no sense. I look so much like my siblings, it's actually upsetting.
Well, and you do still look like that, at least as far as the uninitiated would be concerned, but I'll explain what a changeling is. A changeling is a creature of fairy who has cloaked themselves in mortal form in order to protect themselves against the lack of imagination that the world at large so often has. This is a sad state of reality even for regular mortals. But to us, the Fae, it can be fatal.
Oh. Wow, that sounds way less fun.
There are, fun aspects to it. And, Elodie, you seem very excited by the prospect of becoming something greater than you perceived yourself to be prior. Whether that's an elf or a superhero or a wizard or whatever else. You are still that thing, but you will know, of course, from stories about those entities that the power always comes with a responsibility and a cost. That is no less true in this situation.
So I have like a double life. I'm living like an alter ego.
Indeed. And you may find that it becomes increasingly difficult to continue living the life that you led prior to your awakening tonight, or your chrysalis, as it is called among the Fae.
Do I the things that came after me, I guess, tonight, should I be worried about my dad, about my siblings, my mom? Should I be worried about my little nibblings?
There is some danger in continuing to keep contact with your family and friends. The creatures of dreams also include creatures of nightmare. But if you are cautious, if you take care, if you keep things at arm's length as much as possible, then you need not cut your family and friends off entirely.
Arm's length. Crap, I gotta move.